Today we'll be discussing about the time that I realized that baseball was a sport for me to pursue and not basketball. Today, on the day of the story, I went to the park and I've always loved basketball. I always liked because you can practice basketball by yourself more than you can practice baseball by yourself. Baseball, you need a person to play catch with. You need a person to hit with. You need a person to do everything basically in baseball. With basketball, you can go and shoot, you can go and dribble, you can do all these other things individually or as a team. So I always kind of was leaning towards basketball. But this story I'm about to explain, it's the reason I chose baseball over basketball. So I played second base during my time at during the story. Second base was just my primary position. I didn't have the strongest of arms at the time, and it was just a position that I was good at. I was good at fielding, locating, and tracking down balls. I remember one time, the play reminded me of just playing in slow motion. I went into a down and ready stance. I'm waiting, and this batter, he hits a little line drive, little flare out right next on my right side. So I'm running, and everything felt slow. I could feel the wind coming in at my face. I could feel the ball being brought back to me. And as I dove, I could feel and hear my cleats just digging into the ground, and just the excitement and adrenaline rush that I had, knowing there was nothing that was going to stop me from getting this ball. So as I dove, I felt the cleats just leave the ground, and I felt the dirt spike up from out underneath my shoes. And whenever I got there, I dove, and I barely caught the ball. And the ball was just right in my glove when I looked, and I showed the umpire, and everyone at the time was like, "Dun-na-na, dun-na-na," for the SportsCenter Top 10, because that was the big thing back then. And I was just in I was shocked. I was so happy. I caught the ball. My teammates loved it. It was just so much fun. Then we go to the actual game. The game was our championship game, so it was like a huge game. We were playing, and the team was up. They were up 3-0 at the time, and we played 7 innings. It was the 5th inning. That diving catch that I had probably saved 2 runs from scoring, and I was so happy. I mean, not only did I make a great play myself, I saved the team's adrenaline and their hope that we're gonna come back and win. This is our coach. He brought us out for a coaches meeting, and he was actually pulling our best pitcher that pitched that game, and he was putting in another pitcher. So this was kind of a turning point in the game. This is honestly, as you can see, a couple players' heads are down. A couple of them are kind of just looking at our coach. A couple of us are just sad and disbelief and everything. So we ended up pulling our best pitcher, and we put in another guy that wasn't too bad, but he wasn't our best. Once we got out of there, a lot of us kind of were like, yeah, it's over, we're done, there's nothing we can do. So then we go to the bottom of the 7th, and this is where the story gets interesting. So in the bottom of the 7th, it's our last inning, and if we score 4 runs, the score is still 3-0. If we score 4 runs, we win. So when we get to the bottom of the inning, our leadoff guy gets on, and then our second batter of the inning gets a double. So then what ends up happening is we got a guy that singles, and our coach held our runner at third base. Now I'm in the on deck circle, which means I'm next up to bat. So I wasn't doing too good that day. I went 0 for 3 at the time with 2 strikeouts and a weak ground ball back to the pitcher. It wasn't my day at the time. So the coach knew that and said, you know what? We're going to set up a double play at every base, and we're going to put the infield in. And if that ball comes to you, you better be throwing home and going to 1, and we're getting a double play, and we're going to get out of this. So I could hear that. My coach reassured me that was happening. So as I step into the box, you can just hear the crowd chanting, "Let's go, Michael, let's go." And then you could hear the opposing parents, "Let's go, Zach," who was the pitcher at the time. And it was just so much emotion. You could hear your teammates banging on the metal fence. You could hear the cleats chattering and clanking in the dugout. You could hear so much just emotion. So as I get to the plate, I foul off the first pitch. So I could feel that it was a cold day, so my hands were they shook, they hurt. Next pitch, I hit a line drive into the gap. So you could hear the crowd roar. I was excited. I was just running. I was trying to do everything my coach has said. As I look over at my coach, he's waving the guy home. That's the go-ahead run on first base. He waves him home. I look at second base, and what do you know? He scores. He's safe. I won the game. my teammates come out and they just dogpile on me. The emotions, honestly, the pain, everything. It was just so amazing to be like in that moment, to have that happen, and I was just so like believed, and like I couldn't believe what just happened. It was just like that was the greatest moment in my life. I enjoyed it so much. It helped me decide that baseball was a sport to pursue. You don't get all these like, yeah, you get a buzzer beater, but like that can happen. You don't get walk-off triples, you don't get walk-off doubles, you don't get walk-off hits that often. And to have it happen at such like a young age, I was 12 years old. This was just so dramatic, and I loved it every second of it. And this is one of the biggest moments of my life. It helped me understand baseball, pursue baseball, just have basketball as a little side hobby. Thank you for listening.